The cream envelope arrived on a Tuesday, hand-delivered by a courier who waited for my signature. My name, Natalie Morrison, was written in elegant calligraphy across the front. Inside, nestled in tissue paper, was a wedding invitation embossed with gold lettering. Before we jump back in, please like and subscribe to this new channel, because here we bring real stories that could save you. Now, let's back in. Daniel Hartwell and Victoria Cross request the honor of your presence. I read the date. 3 weeks away. Location: the Grand Meridian Hotel, the same venue where Daniel and I had celebrated our 5th anniversary. My hands trembled as I continued reading, and then I saw it. A handwritten note clipped to the invitation. Natalie, I know this might seem strange, but Victoria and I would really appreciate if you could attend as a friend. We've moved past everything, and it would mean a lot to show everyone that we're all mature adults here. Plus, you always loved the Meridian's gardens. D. I stood in my kitchen, still holding the envelope, trying to process what I was reading. Daniel Hartwell, my husband, inviting me to his wedding, to another woman. The coffee maker beeped behind me, forgotten. My cat, Phantom, wound between my ankles, sensing something was wrong. I read the invitation again, searching for some indication that this was a joke, a mistake, anything that would make this insane situation make sense. But there it was. Black and white, gold embossed, formal, real. My phone was in my hand before I consciously decided to call him. It rang 4 times before he answered. Natalie, hey, did you get the invitation? His voice was cheerful, casual, like he'd just invited me to a barbecue instead of his wedding to another woman. Daniel. My voice came out steadier than I felt. What is this? The invitation? I know it's unconventional, but Victoria and I talked about it, and we really think... Daniel. I cut him off. We're married. There was a pause, a long one. I could hear traffic in the background, the muffled sound of a car door closing. Natalie, come on. That was over 2 years ago. We both moved on. I thought we were past all this. Past all this? I felt something cold spreading through my chest. Daniel, we never divorced. Another pause. This one longer. What are you talking about? Of course we did. You moved out, we split everything. You took your stuff. Separation isn't divorce. I was gripping the phone so hard my knuckles hurt. We never filed papers. We never went to court. We never signed anything. That's... He trailed off. I could practically hear his brain working, rewinding through the past 2 years. But you said you were done. You moved to Chicago. We haven't talked in over a year. Being done with a marriage and legally ending it are 2 different things. I walked to my living room window, looking out at the Chicago street below. Daniel, I'm still your wife. Legally. You can't marry Victoria, not without committing bigamy. The silence on the other end stretched so long I thought he'd hung up. Then, this is some kind of joke, right? You're messing with me because you're upset about the invitation. I'm not joking. I turned away from the window. Think about it. Really think. Did we ever file divorce papers? More silence. Then quieter. Oh my God. Yeah. But I've been planning this wedding for 6 months. Victoria and we bought a house together. I told everyone. His voice shifted, hardened. Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you file? Why didn't you? I shot back. You're the one getting remarried, Daniel. That seems like something you should have checked on. Don't put this on me. His voice rose. You're the one who left. You're the one who said you wanted nothing to do with me. What was I supposed to think? That you should file for divorce like a normal person. I was pacing now, Phantom watching me with concerned green eyes. Daniel, I left because you were sleeping with your assistant. I left because you lied to me for 6 months. But I never said I'd handle the divorce. That was on you too. Jessica wasn't. That's not. He stopped himself. This is ancient history. The point is, we're done. We have been for 2 years. So whatever technicality this is, just handle it. File the papers. I'll sign whatever you need. 3 weeks before your wedding? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Daniel, divorce takes time, even uncontested ones. Background checks, waiting periods, court dates. You can't just snap your fingers. Then what am I supposed to do? The panic in his voice was evident now. Cancel everything? Tell Victoria that, oh God, Victoria, she's going to think I lied to her. You did lie to her. The words came out colder than I intended. You told her you were single. You're not. I thought I was. He sounded desperate now. Natalie, please. This is my life. This is my future. You can't just... You have to help me fix this. I stood there, phone pressed to my ear, staring at the wedding invitation on my counter. The elegant script, the expensive paper, the audacity of inviting me to watch him marry someone else while we were still legally bound. I need to think, I said finally. Think? Natalie, there's nothing to think about. We need to file papers immediately. Today. I'll pay for everything. I'll get the best lawyer, whatever you need. I said I need to think. I hung up before he could respond. My hands were shaking. I set the phone down carefully, like it might explode. Phantom jumped onto the counter, nuzzling against the invitation, and I scratched behind his ears absently. 2 years. We'd been separated for 2 years, and in all that time, it had never occurred to me to check if he'd filed for divorce. I'd assumed he would want to make it official, to cut all ties, to move on completely, but he hadn't. And now he was getting married, to someone else, while still married to me. I picked up the invitation again, studying Victoria's name. Victoria Cross. I'd heard about her, of course, through mutual friends who'd felt compelled to update me on Daniel's life despite my clear disinterest. She was a marketing executive, beautiful, younger than me by 5 years. They'd met at some networking event 18 months ago. 18 months. He'd been dating her, getting serious with her, planning a life with her, all while still legally married to me. My phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. Please call me back. We need to figure this out. Then another. Natalie, I'm serious. This isn't funny. Then another. I can't tell Victoria about this. It would destroy her. Please. I turned my phone face down and walked away. The thing was, I hadn't thought about divorce papers because I'd been busy rebuilding my life. When I'd discovered Daniel's affair with Jessica from accounting, I'd packed up and left within a week. Moved from Boston to Chicago, started over, threw myself into my work as a software developer. I'd joined a new company, made new friends, adopted Phantom, learned to be alone without being lonely. I'd healed. The divorce had been so final in my mind, so completely done, that the legal paperwork had seemed like a formality I'd deal with eventually. There was no rush, no reason to contact him, no reason to dredge up those painful memories. But eventually had never come. And now Daniel was paying the price for both our negligence. Except, was it really negligence on my part? I hadn't been the one trying to remarry. I hadn't been the one building a new life with someone else under false pretenses. I'd simply been living my life, assuming Daniel would handle his own affairs. My laptop sat on the coffee table. I opened it and started searching. Divorce laws in Massachusetts, where we'd married. How long it takes to file. What happens if you try to marry while still married? Bigamy. That was the word. In Massachusetts, it was a felony. Up to 5 years in prison and a $500 fine. I sat back, absorbing this. Daniel was about to commit a felony. Unknowingly, yes, but the law didn't care about intentions. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. My mom has been planning this for months. The deposits are non-refundable. 200 people have RSVP'd. Please. I picked up the phone and called someone else instead. Natalie? My best friend Carmen answered on the first ring. What's wrong? You never call during work hours. Daniel invited me to his wedding. He what? Wedding invitation. Arrived today. Him and some woman named Victoria. 3 weeks from now. That's... Carmen paused. That's really tacky, Nat. I'm sorry. Want me to come over tonight with wine and we can burn it? We're still married. Silence. Carmen. I'm sorry, what? Daniel and I. We never divorced. We're still legally married. But you've been separated for 2 years? How is that possible? Neither of us filed papers. I laughed, and it sounded slightly hysterical even to my own ears. We just assumed, and now he's about to commit bigamy. Oh my God. I could hear Carmen's chair squeak as she sat down. Does he know? He does now. I just told him. What did he say? He panicked, demanded I fix it immediately, as if I can snap my fingers and dissolve a marriage in 3 weeks. Can you? Carmen asked. I mean, is there any way to fast-track this? I don't know. Maybe. With the right lawyer, the right judge, if everything goes perfectly. I trailed off. But why should I? What do you mean? Why should I rush to fix his mistake? He's the one who didn't check. He's the one who made assumptions. He's the one who invited me to watch him marry someone else while we're still married. Natalie. Carmen's voice held a warning note. What are you thinking? I'm thinking, I said slowly, that maybe I should go to this wedding. That's a terrible idea. Is it? He invited me, as a friend. How awkward would it be if his friend showed up with their marriage certificate? Natalie, you can't be serious. But I was smiling now, really smiling, for the first time since opening that envelope. He invited me, Carmen. He specifically asked me to come, to show everyone we're all mature adults. So I'll go. I'll be very mature. I'll bring proof that he's still my husband. This is revenge. This isn't healthy. This is consequences. I stood up, energy coursing through me now. He cheated on me. He lied to me. He broke my heart and never even had the decency to properly end our marriage. And now he wants me to drop everything to save him from his own negligence? No, I don't think so. Nat, listen to yourself. You're talking about ruining someone's wedding. Not just Daniel's. This Victoria person's too. She didn't do anything to you. That stopped me. Carmen was right. Victoria was innocent in this. She thought she was marrying a divorced man. This would devastate her. But then I thought about the invitation again. About Daniel's assumption that I would just fix this for him. About how he'd moved on, built a new life, found someone new, all while I was still legally tied to him. I need to think, I told Carmen. Promise me you won't do anything rash. I promise. I hung up, but I didn't feel bound by that promise. Was it rash to attend a wedding I'd been formally invited to? My phone rang. Daniel again. I let it go to voicemail. Then I listened to the message. Natalie, I'm begging you. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you, but please, don't punish Victoria for my mistakes. She's a good person. She doesn't deserve this. I'll do anything you want. Anything, just help me figure this out before the wedding. Please. I deleted the message. Then I opened my laptop and started researching. Not divorce laws this time. Wedding objections. What happens when someone objects during a ceremony? The legality of it. The process. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Such a dramatic phrase. Most modern weddings didn't even include it anymore. but I had a feeling Daniel's would. His mother was traditional, old-fashioned. She'd want all the classic elements. I pulled up the hotel's website, the Grand Meridian. I knew it well. Daniel and I had spent our 5th anniversary there, back when things were still good. Or when I'd thought they were good. Before I discovered the late-night texts, the unexplained absences, the lipstick that wasn't my shade on his collar. Jessica from accounting. Sweet, blonde Jessica with her bright smile and her helpful nature. She'd been at our anniversary dinner that night. She'd recommended the wine. I shook my head, pushing away the old anger. That was done. Over. I'd moved past it. Except had I? Or had I just buried it, never properly dealt with it because I'd never properly ended the marriage? My phone buzzed again. Not Daniel this time. An unknown number. I answered warily. Hello? Is this Natalie Morrison? A woman's voice. Unfamiliar. Yes. Who's this? My name is Victoria Cross. I think we need to talk. My heart rate spiked. I sat down slowly. Did Daniel tell you? About you still being married? Her voice was tight, controlled. Yes. He told me everything, just now. While I was at work, in front of my entire team, he called me in tears telling me our wedding might not happen because he forgot to divorce his ex-wife. I'm sorry. The words came automatically. Are you? She didn't sound angry exactly. More exhausted. Because Daniel seems to think you're going to make this difficult. He said that? He said you told him you needed to think about it, about filing for divorce. Which seems, I don't know, unnecessarily cruel. You left him 2 years ago. You clearly don't want to be married to him. So why wouldn't you just sign the papers? I bristled at her tone. Because divorce isn't instant. Even if I filed today, there's a waiting period. Background checks. Court processing time. It takes months under normal circumstances. But there are emergency procedures, aren't there? Ways to speed it up? Maybe. I haven't researched that far yet. You haven't researched it? Now she did sound angry. Natalie, our wedding is in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Do you have any idea how much planning has gone into this? How many people are coming? My parents flew in from London for this. My sister took time off from her residency. Daniel's grandmother is 94 years old, and this might be her last chance to see him get married. Then maybe Daniel should have checked if he was actually divorced before planning a wedding, I said quietly. Silence. Then, you're right. You're absolutely right. This is his fault. His mistake. But I'm the one who's going to suffer for it. Do you understand that? Not Daniel. Me. Everyone will blame me somehow. They'll say I moved too fast, or I should have checked, or I'm the homewrecker even though I had no idea. Her voice broke. She was crying now, trying to hide it but failing. I felt something twist in my chest. Guilt. Sympathy. This woman hadn't done anything wrong. She'd fallen in love with someone who'd lied to her, even if he hadn't meant to. Victoria, I said gently, I'm not trying to hurt you. I promise. But I need time to process this. Daniel sent me an invitation to your wedding. As a friend, like everything between us was just over and forgotten. But it's not. We're still legally married. And he didn't even know. Doesn't that bother you? Of course it bothers me. She was angry crying now, that particular combination of fury and heartbreak. It bothers me that the man I love, the man I'm supposed to marry in 3 weeks, didn't care enough about me to make sure he was actually free to marry me. It bothers me that I've been living with him, sleeping with him, planning a future with him, and the entire time he's been someone else's husband. Then you understand why I need time. Time for what? To make us suffer? To punish Daniel? Time to figure out what I want. I stood up again, unable to sit still. Victoria? I spent 6 years with Daniel. I built a life with him. I trusted him completely. And he destroyed that. He cheated on me with someone from his office, lied to my face for months, and when I found out, he barely apologized. Just said it happened, like it was some accident he had no control over. I know about Jessica. Victoria's voice was small now. He told me. He said it was a mistake, that he learned from it. Did he? I challenged. Because he seems to be making a lot of mistakes. Jessica was a mistake. Forgetting to divorce me was a mistake. And what happens when you become a mistake, Victoria? What happens when things get hard or boring or he meets someone new at another office party? That's not fair. None of this is fair. I was surprised by the heat in my own voice. None of it, but here we are anyway. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, what do you want? I don't know yet. Do you want him back? Is that what this is about? No. That at least I was sure of. I don't want Daniel back. I don't love him anymore. I don't even miss him. Then why are you hesitating? Just file the papers. Let us move on. Because I stopped. Why was I hesitating? Was it revenge? Cruelty? Or was it something else? Because he hurt me, I said finally. And he never really paid for it. I left, yes. I moved away. I started over. But he got to stay in our old life, in our old house, with our old friends. He got to paint me as the one who left, who gave up, who walked away. And then he found you, and got to start fresh. Got to pretend he was this divorced guy with a sad past instead of a cheater who drove his wife away. So this is revenge. No. This is... I searched for the right words. This is him finally having to face the consequences of his actions. All of them. The cheating, the lying, the negligence. He wants me to fix this for him, to make it easy, to let him off the hook one more time. And I'm tired of letting him off the hook. Victoria was crying again, quieter now. Please don't come to the wedding. He invited me. I'm uninviting you. Please, please, Natalie, I'm begging you, don't do this. Whatever he did to you, don't take it out on me. I closed my eyes. She was right. This wasn't her fault. But the anger, the hurt, the sense of injustice. It was all bubbling up now, 2 years of suppressed feelings coming to the surface. I'll think about it, I said. That's what you told Daniel. And I meant it then, too. She hung up without saying goodbye. I stood there in my apartment, phone in hand, the wedding invitation still on my counter. Phantom meowed, reminding me it was past his dinner time. I fed him mechanically, mind racing. 3 weeks. 3 weeks to decide what kind of person I wanted to be. The bigger person who filed emergency divorce papers and let Daniel have his wedding? Or the petty person who showed up with a marriage certificate and objected? My laptop pinged. An email. From Daniel. Subject, please read. Natalie. I know I have no right to ask you for anything. I know I hurt you badly. I know I was a terrible husband and an even worse person during our marriage, but I'm asking anyway. Please file for divorce. Please let me move on. Please let Victoria and me have our day. I'll pay for everything. The lawyer, the filing fees, everything. I'll sign whatever you want. If you want more money from the settlement, it's yours. If you want the house, take it. If you want an apology, I'll apologize 1,000 times. Just please don't ruin this for us. Victoria is the best thing that ever happened to me. She's kind and patient, and she makes me want to be better. Don't punish her for my mistakes. I'm sorry for what I did to you. I'm sorry I cheated. I'm sorry I lied. I'm sorry I wasn't the husband you deserved. And I'm sorry I didn't file for divorce. That was my responsibility. and I dropped the ball. But please, please help me fix this. Daniel. I read it twice, 3 times, looking for the catch, the manipulation, the self-serving excuse. But it wasn't there. It was just honest, genuinely apologetic, desperate. I thought about Victoria's voice on the phone, the fear and anger and heartbreak. I thought about Daniel's panic, and I thought about myself, standing in this apartment I'd built my new life in, happy and healed and whole. Did I really want to drag myself back into that mess? Did I really want to be the villain in their story? My phone rang again. My mother this time. "Mom?" I answered, surprised. We talked every Sunday, never on Tuesday afternoons. Natalie Morrison. She used my full name, which was never good. I just got the strangest call from Daniel's mother. "Oh no. She says you're trying to stop Daniel's wedding, that you're claiming you're still married. Please tell me this isn't true." "It is true. We are still married. Neither of us filed for divorce." "But that's..." She paused. "That's absurd. You've been separated for 2 years." "Separation isn't divorce, Mom. We needed to file legal papers. We didn't. So file them now. Why are you making this difficult? Why does everyone assume I'm the one making this difficult?" I was getting frustrated now. Daniel's the one who invited me to his wedding while we're still married. Daniel's the one who didn't check his marital status before proposing to someone else. Why is everyone acting like this is my fault? "Because you're being spiteful," my mother said bluntly. "You're punishing him for the past instead of letting him have a future." Maybe he deserves to be punished. Maybe. But you don't deserve to become bitter. That's what this will do to you, Natalie. It will make you hard and angry and small. Is that who you want to be? I sat down heavily. My mother had a way of cutting through everything to the heart of the matter. "He hurt me, Mom." "I know, baby. I know he did. And he was wrong. But holding on to that hurt, using it as a weapon, that only hurts you more. Let it go. File the papers. Move on completely." "But..." "No buts. You're better than this. You've built a wonderful life in Chicago. You're happy. Don't throw that away for revenge that won't even make you feel better." She was right. I knew she was right. But something in me still resisted, still wanted Daniel to suffer even a fraction of what I'd suffered. "I'll think about it," I said for the 3rd time that day. My mother sighed. "Don't think too long. You're running out of time." After she hung up, I sat in silence. The apartment felt too quiet. Even Phantom had retreated to his favorite sunny spot on the windowsill. I pulled up my contacts and scrolled to a name I hadn't called in 6 months. Amanda Price. My divorce lawyer from when I'd first considered filing, right after moving to Chicago. She answered immediately. "Natalie, I was wondering when I'd hear from you. Ready to finally file those papers?" "It's complicated," I said. "It always is. Tell me everything." So I did. The invitation, the conversation with Daniel, Victoria's call, my mother's advice. All of it. When I finished, Amanda was quiet for a moment. Then, "Okay, first, the legal reality. You're right that divorce takes time. In Illinois, where you're living now, there's a 6-month waiting period for uncontested divorces. In Massachusetts, where you married, it could be faster if you prove irretrievable breakdown, but you'd still need at least a few months. So there's no way to do it in 3 weeks? There might be. If you can prove extenuating circumstances, extreme hardship, and if you get a very sympathetic judge and file in a jurisdiction with faster processing times. Maybe. But it would require both of you working together, being completely honest with the court, and a lot of luck. What happens if I don't do anything? If I just let him get married? Then he commits bigamy, which is a crime, and his marriage to Victoria would be void from the start. Plus, if anyone finds out later, it could create a legal nightmare. Property rights, inheritance, insurance, everything would be complicated. And if I object at the wedding? Amanda laughed, but it wasn't cruel. Then you'd create a scene, probably get escorted out, and humiliate everyone involved. It wouldn't actually stop the ceremony legally. The officiant would still likely proceed, but it would make everything very awkward. That's what I thought. Natalie, I'm going to give you some advice now, lawyer to former client to human being. Let this go. File for divorce. Do it quickly, do it cleanly, and move on completely. Not for Daniel's sake, not for Victoria's sake, for yours. Everyone keeps saying that, because everyone's right. Look, I get it. He hurt you, he cheated, he lied, he was careless with your marriage. But you're not careless. You're thoughtful and kind, and you've worked hard to heal. Don't undo all that progress for a moment of satisfaction that won't even feel good afterward. I knew she was right. I knew they were all right, but I couldn't let it go. Not yet. Send me the emergency filing paperwork, I said finally. I'll look at it. I'll email it within the hour. And Natalie, make the right choice. You'll thank yourself later. After we hung up, I sat there for a long time, thinking. The sun moved across my apartment. Phantom relocated from his sunny spot. My phone kept buzzing with messages I didn't read. I was at a crossroads. One path led to forgiveness, maturity, moving on. The other led to confrontation, drama, revenge. The right path was obvious, but the satisfying path. I picked up the wedding invitation one more time. The elegant script, the formal wording. The assumption that I would just smile and accept my role as the ex-wife who was so well-adjusted she could attend her ex-husband's wedding without any complicated feelings. You are cordially invited. My decision crystallized in that moment, not out of malice, not out of revenge, but out of something simpler, justice. Daniel had invited me to this wedding. He'd specifically asked me to come, to show everyone how mature we all were, how we'd moved past everything. So I would go. I would be very mature. And I would bring a gift. Our marriage certificate. I stood up, energized now by the decision. I walked to my closet and started looking through my dresses. Something appropriate for a wedding. Something elegant. Something that would photograph well. Because if I was going to object to my husband's wedding, I was going to look absolutely spectacular doing it. My phone rang. Daniel again. This time I answered. Natalie, thank God. Listen, I've been talking to my lawyer and... I'll see you at the wedding, Daniel. What? No, I need you to... You invited me. I'm coming, as a friend. Just like you asked. Natalie, please don't do this. Whatever you're planning... I'm not planning anything. I'm simply accepting your invitation. Isn't that what you wanted? For me to show everyone how mature I am? You can't. You can't seriously be considering... 3 weeks, Daniel. I'll see you then. Give my regards to Victoria. I hung up before he could respond. Then I forwarded Amanda's email with the emergency divorce paperwork to Daniel with a simple message. In case you want to try fixing this yourself. My phone immediately started ringing again. I turned it off. 3 weeks. I had 3 weeks to decide if I was really going to go through with this. 3 weeks to choose between being the bigger person or being the person who finally made Daniel face real consequences. 3 weeks to figure out who I wanted to be. But as I stood there in my apartment, looking at that wedding invitation, I already knew. I was going to that wedding. And I was going to bring proof that Daniel Hartwell was still my husband. Let them try to explain that to 200 guests. The thought should have filled me with satisfaction. Instead, I just felt tired. Tired of being hurt. Tired of being the one who had to be mature. Tired of letting people walk all over me because it was easier than fighting back. Maybe this made me petty. Maybe this made me cruel. Maybe this made me exactly the kind of person I didn't want to be. But for once, just once, I wanted Daniel to face real consequences for his actions. Not just guilt, not just awkwardness. Real, tangible consequences. And a ruined wedding in front of 200 people seemed like a good start. My laptop pinged with another email. Amanda had sent the divorce paperwork as promised. I opened it, scanned through the pages of legal language, all the boxes that needed to be checked, all the questions that needed to be answered. Grounds for divorce. Irretrievable breakdown of marriage. Date of separation. March 15th, 2023. Children. None. Property to be divided. To be determined. Reason for emergency filing. Impending illegal marriage. I could fill this out right now. I could scan it, email it, get the process started. With enough pressure and the right lawyer, maybe we could get it done in time. Maybe we could save Daniel's wedding. My finger hovered over the keyboard. Then I closed the laptop. Not yet. Not until I decided what I really wanted. The problem was, I wasn't sure anymore. Did I want revenge? Did I want justice? Did I want closure? Or did I just want Daniel to hurt the way he'd hurt me? My phone buzzed on the counter. I'd turned it off, but it must have restarted. A single text notification from a number I didn't recognize. This is Victoria. Please, I'm begging you one more time. Don't do this. I love him. Whatever he did to you, however much he hurt you, please don't destroy the life we're trying to build. We can't fix the past. But we can build a future. Let us have that. Please. I stared at the message for a long time. She loved him. She really loved him. And I was about to destroy that. Was I really that person? Was I really someone who would ruin an innocent woman's happiness just to punish a man who'd already lost me? I thought about my mother's words, about becoming hard and angry and small. I thought about Amanda's advice, about making the right choice, not the satisfying one. I thought about Carmen's warning, about ruining not just Daniel's wedding, but Victoria's too. They were all right. Every single one of them. I knew it in my bones. But I also knew that if I let this go, if I filed those papers and let Daniel marry Victoria without consequence, I would regret it. Not because I wanted him back, not because I was still in love with him, but because, once again, I would be the one sacrificing, the one being mature, the one swallowing my pride and my hurt for the sake of everyone else's comfort. And I was so tired of that. I typed out a response to Victoria. I'll make my decision in 3 weeks, at the wedding. Then I turned my phone off again. I had 3 weeks to become either the hero or the villain of this story. And for the first time in 2 years, I felt completely in control of my own narrative. Let the countdown begin. Husband invited me to his new wedding as a friend. I objected with his marriage certificate to me. The 3 weeks passed both too quickly and too slowly. Every day, I woke up thinking this would be the day I'd file the divorce papers. Every night, I went to bed having done nothing. Daniel called 17 times. I counted. I didn't answer any of them, but I listened to every voicemail. They started angry, demanding, entitled. By week 2, they'd become pleading. By week 3, they were just broken. Natalie, please, I can't sleep. I can't eat. Victoria's mother hates me now. My mom won't stop crying. Everyone thinks I'm either a liar or an idiot. Just tell me what you want. Money? An apology? What? What did I want? That was the question I'd been asking myself for 21 days straight. Victoria texted me every 3 days like clockwork. At first, they were angry, then desperate. Then, in the final week, they became something else entirely. I looked you up. I saw your LinkedIn, your social media, the articles about the software you developed. You're brilliant. You're successful. You're clearly someone who's moved on and built an amazing life. So why are you doing this? What do you gain from destroying us? I almost responded to that one. Almost told her that it wasn't about gain. It was about loss. About all the things Daniel had taken from me that I could never get back. Trust. Time. The version of myself that believed in forever. But I didn't respond. I just watched the days tick down. Carmen came over the night before the wedding. She brought Thai food and wine and a determination to talk sense into me. Last chance to back out, she said, spreading containers across my coffee table. You can still file the papers tomorrow morning. It might not save the wedding, but at least you won't be the villain. What if I want to be the villain? I stabbed at my pad thai. What if I'm tired of being the understanding ex-wife? Then you'll be the villain. Is that really who you want to be? She reached across and took my hand. Nat, I've known you for 8 years. You're not cruel. You're not vindictive. This isn't you. Maybe it should be me. Maybe I've been too nice my whole life. Too understanding. Too willing to be hurt quietly. There's a difference between standing up for yourself and deliberately hurting other people. Carmen squeezed my hand. What happened to you was awful. Daniel was awful. But Victoria isn't Daniel. Those 200 wedding guests aren't Daniel. His 94-year-old grandmother isn't Daniel. I pulled my hand back. So I should just let him get away with it? Again? He's not getting away with it. He's terrified. His fiancée doesn't trust him anymore. His family is disappointed. He's facing potential legal consequences. He's suffering, Nat. Isn't that enough? No. The word came out harder than I intended. It's not enough, because he'll still get married. He'll still get his happy ending. And I'll still be the ex-wife who quietly faded away. Carmen was quiet for a long moment. Then, do you still love him? What? No, God, no. Then what is this really about? I set down my food, appetite gone. It's about mattering. When I left, it was like I never existed. Our friends took his side. I had to move to a different city just to start over. And he got to keep everything. The house, the friends, the life we built. He got to write the story, and in his version, I was just the wife who couldn't handle his success. And you want to rewrite the story? I want people to know the truth. That he cheated. That he lied. That he was so careless with our marriage, he forgot to end it properly. And you think humiliating him at his wedding will accomplish that? I didn't have an answer for that. Carmen left around midnight, hugging me tightly at the door. Whatever you decide tomorrow, I love you. But please, Nat, please think about who you want to be when this is all over. I couldn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, phantom curled against my side. At 3 a.m., I got up and pulled out the manila envelope I'd prepared. Inside was our marriage certificate, certified and notarized. Legal proof that Daniel Hartwell and Natalie Morrison were still married. I held it in my hands, this piece of paper that represented 6 years of my life. 6 years of believing in something that turned out to be a lie. My phone lit up on the nightstand. Another text from Victoria. It's 3 a.m. I can't sleep either. I keep thinking about what you said, that I might become a mistake too someday. You're right. I might. But I'd rather have loved him and lost than never have taken the chance at all. Isn't that what you did? When you married him, you took a chance on love. It didn't work out, but you tried. Let me try too. Please. I read it 3 times. She was right. When I married Daniel, I'd been full of hope and love and trust. The fact that it ended badly didn't erase the courage it took to try. Was I really going to punish her for having that same courage? I set down the envelope and picked up my laptop instead. The divorce papers were still there, half filled out, waiting for my signature. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. At 4 a.m., I made my decision. The Grand Meridian Hotel looked exactly as I remembered it. Elegant gardens, marble fountains, soaring glass ceilings. Daniel and I had celebrated our anniversary here 5 years ago. We'd danced in the ballroom. We'd kissed under the stars in the garden. We'd talked about our future, about children and growing old together. All lies in the end. Or maybe not lies, maybe just hopes that died. I was wearing a navy blue dress, elegant but understated. My hair was up, my makeup was perfect. I looked like exactly what I was supposed to be, a well-adjusted ex-wife attending her former husband's wedding as a mature, gracious friend. The manila envelope was in my clutch. I could feel its weight, heavier than paper should be. Guests were arriving, dressed in their finest. I recognized some of them, Daniel's college friends, his parents, his sister. They recognized me, too. I could see the shock on their faces, the confused whispers. Is that Natalie? What is she doing here? Did Daniel actually invite her? I held my head high and walked into the venue. The ceremony was set up in the garden, rows of white chairs facing an arch covered in roses. It was beautiful, heartbreakingly beautiful. I could see Victoria's touch everywhere, the vintage lace details, the soft pink accents, the fairy lights that would glow as evening fell. I found a seat in the back row, as far from the altar as possible. Daniel's mother spotted me immediately. Her face went pale, then red. She started walking toward me, but Daniel's father grabbed her arm, holding her back. They had a furious whispered conversation, both of them shooting daggers at me with their eyes. I smiled pleasantly and checked my phone. 4:47 p.m. 13 minutes until the ceremony. Natalie? I looked up. Daniel's sister Jennifer was standing next to my seat. We'd been close once. She'd been my maid of honor. Jen, you look beautiful. What are you doing here? She wasn't hostile, just confused. Daniel said you might come, but I didn't believe him. He invited me. I'm here as a friend. Are you, though? She sat down next to me, uninvited. Because everyone's terrified you're going to cause a scene. Would I do that? The old Natalie wouldn't. But I don't know who you are anymore. She looked at me searchingly. He really hurt you, didn't he? Yes. I'm sorry. For what it's worth, I told him he was an idiot. About Jessica. About all of it. Thank you. But Victoria's good for him, Nat. She really is. She makes him want to be better. So whatever you're planning, please don't. Before I could respond, the music started. Pachelbel's canon. Everyone stood, turning toward the house where Victoria would emerge. Jennifer squeezed my hand once, then hurried to her seat in the front row. I stood with everyone else, clutch in hand, feeling the weight of the envelope inside. Victoria appeared in the doorway, and I had to admit, she looked stunning. Her dress was simple but elegant, her veil long and flowing. She was smiling, radiant, everything a bride should be. Until she saw me. Her smile faltered. She stopped walking for just a moment, her father having to gently pull her forward. Her eyes locked on mine, and I saw everything in them. Fear, anger, pleading. I looked away first. She continued down the aisle, past my row, past the middle rows, reached the front where Daniel waited. I hadn't let myself look at him until now. He was wearing a black tuxedo, classic and handsome. He looked older than I remembered, more tired. When Victoria reached him, he took her hands, and I saw them trembling. He didn't look at me. Not once. His eyes were locked on Victoria, like she was the only person in the world. Like if he looked away, she might disappear. The officiant began. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. The words washed over me. I'd heard them before, at my own wedding. I'd believed them then. Marriage is a sacred bond. I opened my clutch, felt the envelope inside. If anyone has cause to believe these two should not be wed, this was it. This was the moment. The officiant was old school, traditional. He was actually including the objection clause. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. Silence. 200 people held their breath. I felt everyone's eyes on me. Daniel's mother half rose from her seat. Victoria's hands tightened on her bouquet. Daniel still wouldn't look at me. I stood up. The gasp that went through the crowd was audible. Victoria's face crumpled. Daniel finally looked at me, and I saw absolute devastation in his eyes. I object, I said clearly. Chaos. Immediate, absolute chaos. Victoria started crying. Daniel's mother was shouting. The officiant looked completely lost. Guests were on their feet, phones out, documenting everything. I walked down the aisle toward the altar. Slowly, deliberately. Every step measured. Natalie, don't. Daniel's voice broke. Please. I reached the altar, looked at Victoria, who was sobbing into her hands, looked at Daniel, who looked like he might actually be sick. Then I pulled out the envelope. I object, I said again, because this ceremony cannot legally proceed. I handed the envelope to the officiant. He opened it with shaking hands, pulled out the marriage certificate. Daniel Hartwell and I are still legally married, I continued. My voice echoed in the silent garden. We never divorced, which means this ceremony, if completed, would constitute bigamy under Massachusetts law. The officiant had gone pale. Is this true? Daniel couldn't speak. He just nodded. Then I cannot, in good conscience, perform this ceremony. The officiant looked at Victoria. I'm so sorry, my dear. Victoria let out a sound that was half sob, half scream. She turned to Daniel. You promised me you'd fix this. You promised. I tried. She wouldn't file the papers. I tried everything. You should have tried 2 years ago. Victoria ripped off her veil. You should have made sure you were divorced before proposing to me, before moving me into your house, before planning this whole wedding. She was shouting now, past caring that 200 people were watching. I trusted you. I believed you. And now I'm standing here in front of everyone I love, humiliated, because you couldn't be bothered to check if you were actually single. Victoria, please. No. She threw her bouquet at his feet. We're done. This is done. I can't marry someone who's already married. She ran. Up the aisle, past the shocked guests, into the hotel. Her bridesmaids scrambled after her. Daniel turned to me. His face was a mixture of rage and despair. Are you happy now? Is this what you wanted? What I wanted, I said quietly, was for you to face consequences. For once. Consequences? You just destroyed my life. You humiliated Victoria, ruined our wedding, devastated our families. You did that, Daniel, not me. You're the one who forgot to divorce me. You're the one who proposed to another woman while still married. You're the one who invited me to watch you commit a felony. I held his gaze. I just showed up with receipts. His mother was there now, gripping his arm. How could you? She was looking at me, not him. How could you be so cruel? Cruel? I felt something snap inside me. You want to know what's cruel? Your son cheated on me with his assistant for 6 months, while I planned surprise parties for him and cooked dinner every night and believed we were happy. That's cruel. That was 2 years ago. You need to move on. I have moved on. My voice rose despite myself. I moved to a different city. I built a new career. I made new friends. I healed. But I pointed at Daniel. He tried to move on without actually ending what we had. And now he's facing the consequences. I could see guests recording this. Tomorrow, this would be all over social media. The wedding objection heard round the internet. But I wasn't done. You want to know the truth? I addressed the crowd now. Daniel invited me to this wedding. He sent me a formal invitation asking me to attend as a friend. To show everyone how mature we all were. How we'd moved past everything. I laughed, bitter. But we hadn't moved past anything because we were still married. And he didn't even know. Daniel was crying now. Actually crying. I'm sorry. Natalie, I'm so sorry. For everything. For Jessica, for the lies, for not filing the papers. I'm sorry. I know you are. Now. I reached into my clutch again and pulled out a second envelope. Which is why I'm giving you this. He took it with shaking hands. Opened it. Divorce papers. Fully filled out. Signed by me. Notarized. All he had to do was sign and file. I filed these electronically this morning, I said. Emergency circumstances, irretrievable breakdown of marriage, impending illegal marriage. The judge approved it. We'll be officially divorced in 30 days. Daniel stared at the papers like he couldn't comprehend them. You filed? This morning, at 7 a.m. I called in every favor I had with every lawyer I knew. Paid triple the normal fee, but it's done. Then why? He looked up at me, confused. Why did you object? If you already filed, why ruin the wedding? Because you needed to understand something. I took a step closer. You don't get to pretend the past didn't happen. You don't get to invite me to your wedding as a friend and expect me to smile and play along. You don't get to rewrite history and cast yourself as the victim. I looked around at all the guests, all the phones recording. I want everyone here to know the truth. That you cheated on me. That you lied to me. That you were so careless with our marriage you forgot to legally end it. And that when you finally faced consequences, you blamed everyone but yourself. I take responsibility, Daniel said, but his voice was weak. Do you? Because every voicemail you left, every text, every conversation, it was all about how I was being unreasonable. How I needed to help you. How I was ruining your life. Not once did you say this is my fault and I need to fix it. Not once. He opened his mouth, closed it. He had no response. I turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, Victoria deserves better than this. Better than you. I hope you figure that out before you hurt her the way you hurt me. I walked back up the aisle. Past the shocked guests. Past Daniel's family. Past the cameras and the whispers and the judgment. Carmen was waiting at the back, having slipped in during the chaos. She fell into step beside me, looping her arm through mine. That was intense, she murmured. Yeah. Feel better? I thought about it. Ask me tomorrow. We walked out of the garden, leaving behind the wreckage of a wedding that never was. The story went viral, of course. By midnight, clips of my objection were all over TikTok and Twitter. Woman objects to ex-husband's wedding with their marriage certificate trended for 3 days. The responses were divided. Half the internet called me a hero. Queen energy. This is how you handle a cheater. The revenge we all deserve. The other half called me a monster. She ruined an innocent woman's wedding. This is psychotic behavior. Imagine being this bitter. I deleted all my social media apps and tried not to care. Victoria called me 4 days after the wedding. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. I don't know whether to thank you or curse you, she said without preamble. I'll accept either. You were right about him, about everything. She sounded tired, defeated. After the wedding, or non-wedding, I started digging. Really digging. The expense reports you mentioned? He'd been doing the same thing at his current company. And there were texts. From someone named Rachel in HR. Nothing physical yet, but it would have been. Eventually. My stomach twisted. Victoria, I'm so sorry. Don't be. You saved me from making the biggest mistake of my life. She laughed, but it sounded hollow. I just wish you'd done it privately, instead of in front of 200 people and the entire internet. I know. That was cruel of me. You didn't deserve that. No, I didn't. She paused. But I understand why you did it. I'm not sure I forgive you yet, but I understand. That's fair. For what it's worth, I broke things off completely. Moved out. I'm staying with my sister while I figure out my next steps. Good. You deserve someone who actually deserves you. So do you, Natalie. So do you. After she hung up, I sat with that for a while. Did I deserve better? Had I gotten it by doing this? Carmen came over that night with ice cream. Verdicts in from the court of public opinion. You're either a hero or a villain, depending on who you ask. What do you think? She was quiet for a moment. I think you were hurt and angry, and you wanted Daniel to finally face consequences. I think you got that. But I also think you hurt an innocent person in the process, and that will be harder to live with than you expected. She was right. The satisfaction I'd felt in the moment, standing at that altar, watching Daniel's face crumble, had faded within hours. What remained was the image of Victoria crying, her dreams destroyed, her humiliation complete. I'd done that. Not Daniel. Me. I filed the divorce papers, I said. That morning, before the wedding. I'd already decided to end it properly. Then why go at all? Because I wanted him to know. I wanted everyone to know. That he didn't get away with it. That there were consequences. I set down my ice cream. But I hurt Victoria to make that point. And that was wrong. Yes, it was. I thought it would feel better. The revenge, the vindication. But it just feels empty. Carmen hugged me. That's because revenge always does. It's never as satisfying as we think it will be. I wish someone had told me that 3 weeks ago. I did. You didn't listen. She was right. The divorce was finalized 32 days after the objection. I received the papers in the mail on a Thursday afternoon. Official. Legal. Final. Daniel Hartwell and Natalie Morrison were no longer married. I felt nothing. No relief, no sadness, no sense of closure. Just nothing. That night, I did something I hadn't done in weeks. I looked at the recordings of the objection, the ones that had gone viral. I watched myself walk down that aisle. Watched Daniel's face. Watched Victoria break. And I saw what everyone else saw. A woman who had been so hurt, so determined to make her ex-husband suffer, that she'd destroyed an innocent person's happiness to make her point. I didn't look like the hero of my own story. I looked like the villain. My mother called the next day. I saw what you did. I know. Do you regret it? Yes, and no. I don't regret stopping an illegal marriage. I don't regret making Daniel face consequences. But I regret how I did it. I regret humiliating Victoria. She didn't deserve that. Have you apologized to her? She doesn't want to hear from me. Maybe not now. But someday, when enough time has passed, you should try. 6 months later, I did. I wrote Victoria a letter, a real one, handwritten, mailed to her sister's address. I didn't make excuses. I didn't try to justify what I'd done. I just apologized. Dear Victoria, I'm sorry for ruining your wedding, for humiliating you, for using you as collateral damage in my war with Daniel. You deserved better from both of us. I was angry and hurt, and I wanted him to suffer. But you weren't the person who hurt me, and you shouldn't have paid the price for his mistakes. I hope you've found happiness. I hope you've healed. And I hope someday you can forgive me, even though I don't deserve it. Natalie. She never responded. I didn't expect her to. A year after the objection, I ran into Jennifer at a conference in New York. She saw me across the exhibition hall and, to my surprise, walked over. Natalie. Jen, how are you? Good. Busy. You? Same. Awkward silence. How's Daniel? I asked, because someone had to. Therapy. Lots of therapy. He quit his job, moved to Portland. He's working on himself, I guess. She studied me. How are you, really? Honestly? I'm okay. Good, even. But I regret what I did. How I did it. Good. You should. But she said it gently. What you did to Victoria was cruel. But what Daniel did to you was cruel, too. And someone needed to make him see that. I just wish I'd found a better way. Maybe there wasn't one. Maybe he needed the public humiliation to actually understand the gravity of what he'd done. She touched my arm. For what it's worth, I think you both hurt each other badly, and you both need to find a way to forgive yourselves. After she left, I thought about that. Forgiving myself. Was that possible? Could I forgive myself for becoming the kind of person who would ruin a wedding just to make a point? I didn't know, but I was trying. 2 years after the objection, I was at a coffee shop in Chicago when someone approached my table. Natalie Morrison? I looked up. A young woman, mid-20s, nervous smile. Yes? I'm sorry to bother you, but you're the marriage certificate woman, aren't you? From the wedding objection? My stomach sank. That's me. I just wanted to say thank you. I blinked. Thank you? I was engaged to someone who turned out to be married too. Different circumstances, but when I saw your video, it gave me the courage to walk away, to demand better, to not just accept his excuses. She was smiling now. So thank you for showing me it was okay to make a scene, to demand the truth. After she left, I sat there for a long time, coffee growing cold. Maybe what I'd done hadn't been entirely bad. Maybe it had helped someone. Maybe, in some strange way, it had mattered. But it still didn't erase Victoria's tears. It didn't erase the cruelty of my choice. I was both the hero and the villain of this story. And I had to learn to live with that. 3 years after the objection, I got an email. Subject: Thank you. Natalie. It's Victoria. I know this is unexpected. I've written and deleted this email about 30 times over the past year, trying to figure out what to say. I think I'm ready to say thank you. Not for ruining my wedding, not for humiliating me, but for showing me who Daniel really was before I legally tied myself to him. You were right. He would have hurt me eventually. The patterns were already there. I just didn't want to see them. It took me a long time to get here. A lot of therapy, a lot of anger, a lot of tears. But I'm happy now. Really happy. I'm with someone new, someone honest and kind, and I know in my bones that this is real in a way my relationship with Daniel never was. I'm not sure I'll ever fully forgive you for how you did what you did, but I understand why you did it, and in some strange way, I'm grateful. I hope you're happy too. Victoria. I read it 3 times, tears streaming down my face. Then I wrote back. Victoria. Thank you for this. You have no idea how much I needed to hear it. I'm sorry. For everything. For the pain I caused you. You deserved so much better from both of us. I'm glad you found happiness. You deserve it. I'm happy too. Finally. Completely. Natalie. And it was true. I was happy. I'd met someone new too. Someone who knew my whole messy story and loved me anyway. Someone who saw the worst thing I'd ever done and still chose me. You were hurt and you made a mistake, he'd said when I told him about the objection. That doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. Maybe he was right. Maybe we were all just humans, hurting each other and healing each other in equal measure, trying our best to be better than we were yesterday. I'd made a choice that day at the wedding. A choice that hurt people. A choice I regretted in many ways. But it had also led me here. To this life. To this person. To this version of myself who was stronger and wiser and more forgiving of others and of myself. Daniel sent me a message on what would have been our 10th anniversary. "I'm sorry for everything. I hope you're well." I typed and deleted a dozen responses. Finally settled on, "I'm sorry too. I hope you're healing." And I meant it. I hoped he was finding his way, just like I'd found mine. I hoped he'd learned from his mistakes. I hoped he was becoming a better person. Because at the end of the day, that's all any of us could do. Learn. Grow. Try to cause less pain than we'd been caused. The wedding objection would always be part of my story. The moment I became famous for all the wrong reasons. The moment I let my anger and hurt turn me into someone I didn't want to be. But it wasn't the end of my story. It was just a chapter. A painful, messy, complicated chapter. And the chapters that came after? They were pretty good. I was Natalie Morrison. I'd been married and divorced. I'd been cheated on and humiliated. I'd sought revenge and regretted it. But most importantly, I'd survived it all. And I'd learned from it. That was enough. That was more than enough. It was everything. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.